Feel like the year's ending and you're still exactly where you were in January? I get it. The goals, the habits, the version of you thought you'd be by now, it's all still sitting in a notes app. But we're not spiraling, we're resetting. In this episode, I'm walking you through how I've been using the last 90 days of the year to stop overthinking and actually follow through with habits, mindset, and routines that feel good and actually stick. So if you've been stuck in a loop of planning without doing, this is your permission slip to start again. The year's not over, and neither are you. Let's go. This is Super Bloom Coach, the podcast for ambitious women ready to 10x their business and their life. I'm your host, Mariah Riona, award-winning luxury brand designer and certified life coach. And every week, I'll be here as your Super Bloom Coach, helping you ditch the limiting beliefs that are keeping you stuck, small, and broke. We'll dive deep into the mindset, marketing, and strategy that actually moves the needle. Plus, have candid conversations with powerhouse women entrepreneurs who are blooming big in their own businesses. If you're ready to grow, you're in the right place. The real reason the last quarter feels impossible. Something strange happens every year around October. People stop believing the rest of the year counts. It's almost like the entire world collectively shrugs and goes, I'll try again in January. And I want to be clear about this. That mindset is one of the biggest reasons women in business stay stuck. January 1st is not magical. It's not a cosmic reset. It's not a universal permission slip. It's a date, a human invention, a social construct with good PR. There is nothing January 1st can give you that a random Tuesday can't. When you really let that land, everything changes because suddenly you don't need a new month, a new year, or a new planner. You only need a decision. You can finish the year strong, but not if you mentally skip the last quarter. And truly, this is exactly why my program, Epic Q, exists inside of Super Bloom Coach Society. Because I watched brilliant women throw away an entire season of their life every single year, not because they failed, but because they stopped trying long before the year ended. This year, I decided no more. Inspired by my previous 3 rounds of 75 Hard, I decided to create a similar program, but for business. And I've called it Epic Q, for your most epic quarter ever. But it didn't stop there because I decided to combine it with 75 Hard. So for the last few weeks, I've been doing Epic Q plus my 4th round of 75 Hard. And that combination has changed me mentally, physically, emotionally, and professionally. My business has shifted. My mindset has sharpened. My discipline has strengthened. And my energy has increased. This isn't about punishment or hustle. It's about becoming the woman who follows through, especially when the world is winding down. Why I decided to lock in for Q4. So let me tell you how this happened. I'll be honest. I looked around at the end of Q3 and realized that this year wasn't really going as planned. So I started feeling discouraged, and I didn't like that feeling because it felt like giving up. So instead, I doubled down. I wondered what I could do to turn everything around in the last quarter of the year. Instead of coasting, how could I realign myself? And I remembered how life-changing it had been every time I'd completed another round of 75 Hard. So I wondered if there was a way to take that sort of program, that discipline, and that energy and make it work for my business. And that's when I came up with the idea of Epic Q. Epic Q is my 75-day identity, discipline, and habit system for business. And I included it for free for all of my members inside of Super Bloom Coach Society. But I also decided that I wanted to do 75 Hard again for the 4th time. So I wasn't just elevating my business, but also my life. Most people see 75 Hard as a fitness challenge. I don't. I see it as an identity shift. It's a mental toughness challenge. 2 workouts a day, daily reading, a diet you actually stick to, a gallon of water, no alcohol, no compromises, daily self-accountability. It wasn't the workouts that transformed me every time, though they definitely helped. It was the consistency. It was the willingness to be uncomfortable on purpose. It was choosing the future version of me even when the current version wanted to quit. It was the proof every single day that discipline feels better than disappointment. Pairing these 2 systems, Epic Q and 75 Hard, has created a level of momentum I've never had before. It's not hustle or burnout, not perfectionism, it's momentum. And momentum leads to clarity. Clarity leads to action. Action leads to identity, and identity leads to results. That's why I want to walk you through some of the habits I've used in my own lock-in season, the ones that actually move the needle. These aren't cute habits, they're not aesthetic. These are ones that build identity and results. Combining Epic Q plus 75 Hard means I've got 11 daily actions to complete. Yes, daily. By the way, Super Bloom Coach Society members get the full-blown breakdown, the checklist, the printable tracker, the whole system. But today, I'm going to give you a few of the ones that have really helped this fast transformation. So if you want the full structure, the support, and the consistency, that's all inside of Super Bloom Coach Society. Click that link below to join now. But here are a few of the habits that have had a huge impact on me. Habit 1. Daily exercise, not for physical reasons, for leadership reasons. If you want to be a leader, you need to take care of yourself first. And it's way too easy to skip the self-care, especially things we don't like to do, like work out, by claiming we're too busy. Believe me, I know this trick all too well. But I decided no more. I'm making myself the priority this quarter. So every single day I exercised, whether I felt like it or not. I've become a woman who keeps promises to herself. Stepping into leadership requires a body that feels awake, energized, and regulated. And more importantly, it requires you to become someone who keeps promises to herself, rain or shine. If you're listening to this and thinking, I'm not a gym person, then perfect, I'm not either. And let's be honest, there are plenty of ways to move your body that don't require the gym. You can steal my favorite and start taking dance classes. Habit number 2, daily sales activity. This one deserves its own episode. Here's the truth. Most women want a business, very few run one. They journal, they visualize, they post content, they tweak their website, they make plans, they draft offers, they never launch. They wait for clarity, they wait for confidence, they wait for inspiration. But the women who make money, they sell. Yes, even in Q4, especially in Q4. Daily sales activities are a part of Epic Q because I got tired of watching brilliant women starve their businesses while feeding their fears. This is the exact habit that inspired me to create Client Boost Formula because people kept asking, Mariah, how are you getting new clients every month? What's the system? What are you doing? So I finally built a comprehensive training that answers that question directly. And here's the truth. Your business won't finish the year strong unless you do. Daily selling doesn't mean being aggressive. It means consistently showing up for the people who need what you offer. Your business deserves that from you. Want to learn how I've implemented this concept into my business to get clients on repeat? Click the link in the description to get Client Boost Formula now. Habit 3, daily reading. This one surprised me. Daily reading is already a part of 75 Hard, and I brought it into Epic Q because of how drastically it shifted my mental landscape. It's hard to think big when you feed yourself small thoughts. A woman who wants to finish the year strong needs a different level of thought leadership. She needs to hear from people who have walked ahead of her. She needs ideas that challenge her patterns. She needs perspective that stands taller than her excuses. Daily reading stabilizes your mind, it elevates your focus, and it expands your identity. So I've been reading a minimum of 10 pages every single day from a personal development or business book. And honestly, it's become one of my favorite parts of the day. 10 out of 10 recommend. And habit number 4, daily models. This is where the real transformation happens. The model, circumstance, thoughts, feelings, actions, results, is the coaching tool that has changed my life and the lives of my clients more than anything else. Daily modeling forces you to see exactly how you've been creating your own results. It exposes the beliefs you didn't realize you were living by, and it reveals the patterns you've outgrown. Modeling teaches you emotional responsibility. It upgrades your identity from the inside out. Listen, there's nothing passive about mindset work. When done properly, it's the most powerful tool you have. A woman who does daily models isn't guessing who she is becoming. She's designing her life on purpose. Why these habits work. People think transformation comes from intensity. It doesn't. It comes from repetition and consistency. Daily choices, daily decisions, daily accountability. These are the quiet behaviors that create loud results. Consistency feels boring, which is why most people avoid it. But boredom is a sign you're approaching mastery, not failure. Most people want excitement. What they actually need is discipline. Epic Q works because it builds identity, not pressure. It gives you structure, not rigidity. It gives you self-trust, not punishment. You finish the year strong because you become someone who follows through, not because you cram every intention into the last stretch of the year. When you show up daily, you start to trust yourself again. That trust becomes momentum, and momentum becomes identity. And identity creates a life you're proud of. The truth women don't want to admit about the end of the year. Let's be honest here. Most women in business don't finish the year strong for one reason. They've already decided the year is over. Not consciously, but emotionally. They disconnect from their goals long before December ever arrives. They wait for an imaginary clean slate that doesn't exist. But here's the truth. January won't suddenly change your identity. A new planner won't make you more consistent. Next year won't give you a new mindset. If you want to become the woman you thought you'd be by now, you can't outsource that to a date on a calendar. Your habits don't care what month it is. Your goals don't adjust themselves in December. Your potential doesn't shrink just because the year feels almost over. You are not running out of time. You are running out of excuses. And I say that with love because once you understand that today holds just as much power as January 1, you reclaim every lost opportunity. You can finish the year strong, the quarter strong, the week strong, no matter what day it is, not because you hustle, but because you stop waiting. What I learned from locking in this year. The year's not even over, but I've already seen so many drastic changes. Pairing Epic Q with 75 Hard taught me things about myself I didn't expect and reinforced a few things I already knew, like discipline feels better than motivation. Clarity follows action, not the other way around. That my energy is a choice. Consistency is a muscle. That showing up when it's inconvenient is what separates leaders from dreamers. And that identity is built in the small decisions, not the dramatic ones. I also learned that most people think they need more time, when what they actually need is more honesty. Honesty about the habits they break, honesty about the goals they abandon, and honesty about the identity they don't want to outgrow. And honesty about the distractions they entertain and the way they've been buffering their life away. When I became radically honest with myself, I became unstoppable. And like I said, the year's not even over. I'm still in the middle of Epic Q and 75 Hard, and I've already had some amazing wins and transformations, like losing 10 pounds and getting into the best shape of my life, launching several new programs, and getting a lot of new clients. This is why I will always finish the year strong, because the woman I become in the last 90 days is the woman who leads the next year. Your reset starts now. Here's the moment where you get to decide. Are you gonna wait for next January, or are you gonna use the days in front of you? You have everything you need to begin again, not with perfection or pressure, not with a new planner or vision board, but with a choice. There is no deadline for becoming the woman you want to be, but there is a cost to waiting. Finishing the year strong isn't about pushing harder, it's about thinking smarter. When you start today, regardless of the date on the calendar, you shift the entire trajectory of your life. Suddenly, you're not the woman who tries, you're the woman who decides. You make decisions differently. You honor your energy differently. You choose your habits differently, and you set boundaries differently. Everything feels sharper, cleaner, more aligned, more grounded. And you stop acting like your future self is miles away. You realize she's so much closer. The identity shift that matters most. Here's the truth I want you to take from this episode. Finishing the year strong has nothing to do with the calendar and everything to do with your identity. The woman who finishes strong believes, I'm not waiting. I'm capable. I can follow through. I trust myself. I decide. You don't have to do all 11 Epic Q actions. You don't have to do 75 hard. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to become the woman who doesn't abandon herself in the fourth quarter. If this episode lit something up in you, if you're craving structure, if you want identity work, discipline, and a system that actually helps you follow through, then you'll love Superbloom Coach Society. Epic Q is included inside of SCS, the full checklist, the daily framework, everything. And you'll get all of my best mindset tools for CEOs, monthly trainings, and workbooks. And you'll get to be personally coached by me. If you're ready to finish this year strong and start next year even stronger, this is where you belong. The link's in the description. I'll see you inside.